It is September 1st, 2010, and this is Pouring Out Blog number 2. And it has been officially 1 year since Vanessa and I took our first steps in Bosnia-Herzegovina. And so we're excited. We can't believe how fast this year's gone, but we just want to take some time kind of talking about some things that we remember the most from this last year, together and as individuals, and then what we're looking forward to with this next year. So, Vanessa, do you have anything that you remember from this last year that kind of sticks out from all the stuff that we've experienced?
Well, there's too much to try to say that really stuck out. I would say the most recent thing that stuck out most for me is this last week I ran into one of our old komshia, one of our old neighbors. And sometimes it's really hard to understand her because she has no teeth. And so with that it's really hard because they mumble, and with no teeth it's just you don't understand the words that are coming out of their mouths. So I ran into her, and then she started talking to me, and it was really cool because I actually understood her, and we had a little conversation. And of course, the normal questions that they always ask: where have you been? Why haven't you come for coffee? Why aren't you pregnant? When are you having kids?
Yeah,
How
that's
much
a
is
typical question for us.
how much is your new apartment and all that? So that was really cool, just to run into her and understand what she was saying to me. Of course, there were some words that I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but the context of the conversation understood. So that was really cool.
Yeah, I think that's really encouraging too for our ministry.
Yeah.
Kind of the idea that now we're getting to a point where we actually have fairly deep conversations with people, and actually in our own relationships, be able to go deeper with them too, and really, pour into people, into their lives, and really be there for them as well. So for me, I'm going to take us all the way back to this winter. First of all, it was like our first full-on winter that we've ever lived in. Never have we lived in snow for so long. And so the cool thing is we received Samaritan Purse packages here in Bosnia. So in America, or even European countries too, they stuff these shoe boxes with presents and stuff for Christmas. And so we went up north to our team in Bihać, and we were doing the rounds with the packages. So we go up to doors, ask how many kids live here, ages, and then we go back to these cards that we stuffed with presents. And the first day was cool because it wasn't snowing. It was kind of cool. There was a little bit of snow on the ground, but the second day, there was snow everywhere. Oh my gosh, my feet were frozen by the end of the day because it just kept snowing and snowing, and we're going house to house to house, and everybody's out in the neighborhoods. But for one of our ladies there, she's always seen these houses on the other side of this river. And she's always kind of wondered, well, how can we get to those houses? How did the kids get to school? And she's asked people, and they're like, well, they take the boats across the river. And so we had packages, and she wanted to bring packages to the kids on across the river. And so Vanessa and I went with her to figure out how we can get over there. And so we're driving with her in the car. We're going, and it's just like a mountain behind it. And we're driving across this other, like a couple miles down the river, and like, okay, how do we get to those houses? How do we get? We tried one road, it ended.
Yeah.
And we're looking, and we're like, okay, we got to get to these houses. And so we drove up farther, and we saw this road, but it was just terrible. It was just rocky. It was on the edge of the cliff too. And so we're like, I don't think anybody goes down there. And so we drive up, and we go turn around, and then all of a sudden we see a car coming off the road. And so that's when we were like, okay, this is definitely a road we have to try. Caroline, the lady that we were with, was like, okay, we'll try this. And so she drove, and we went down this road. And it was just, we were kind of like, does this go there? This is winding. And we finally made it. We were so happy. We're like, oh my gosh. And so there's a bunch of houses on the other side of the river.
10 of them.
Yeah, they said there were about 10.
Yeah.
And so we go to the first house. Nobody was there. The guy was gone. But we went to the second house, and we started talking with the people about, is there any kids around here? We have presents. And it was really cool because they said yes, and they called their neighbors around the corner, and so they were going to come, and so they invited us in for coffee. These people never met us. We told them what we were doing, that we were working with the evangelical church in Bihać. And so we went inside, and then we totally had coffee and got to meet these people and talk with them. And at that time, our language was still kind of off. But Caroline's been living here for, I think, like more than 10 years.
Yeah.
So she was able to communicate. But what was even cooler was the lady that was there, that lived there. She was telling us, she's like, you know what, yesterday I was watching TV and there's this cake recipe on the TV. And so I decided to make it. I don't know why I made it, but I made it. And so that cake was there for us. And so we all totally ate this cake, and it was delicious, but it was just cool how the ministry kind of takes you, on these different adventures, on these different trips where you're like, okay, Lord, we want to do, we want to be able to speak with these people. We want to be able to bring these gifts to these people as well for this time. And there's so many kids that were just excited about these gifts that, many families were poor, and they talked to us about how they struggled. And to have these gifts for them that had clothes for the winter, new beanies, new gloves, that had toys, that had even school supplies for kids too. That was really big. But definitely for me, and I think for Vanessa too, that was one of our coolest times during this last year, during our first year here.
Yeah.
And so I guess the next question is what we're excited about for our next year. We have another year here before we come back for our furlough. And so what's kind of something that you're looking forward to?
I would say I am looking forward to being able to have conversations now with people in Bosnian, and there are a lot of people here that speak English.
In Sarajevo?
Yeah, in Sarajevo. But I think that's the most, what I'm really looking forward to is just able to speak to people in Bosnian, just to have, right now we can do simple conversations and everything that I can speak out, but I understand a lot more of what they're saying to me. So, yeah, I would say that, and also just what we love to do is hospitality and just bringing people into our homes. So, with our new apartment, it's awesome. It's a blessing. We're so excited. So
it is a blessing.
Yeah,
huge blessing.
I would say I'm really looking forward to having many more people come over, more Bosnians coming over, and and cooking Mexican food for them.
Yeah, we've had a lot of Mexican food.
We've been making a lot of Mexican food with our Bosnian friends, and they enjoy it just because there's some restaurants here that try to do Spanish food and it's horrible. And so it's kind of cool just to have them experience something that's somewhat authentic. So,
well, we're authentic.
I don't know about
That's
that.
for sure. But I really like the fact too that we love having people over just for coffee, and we've totally absorbed that part of the culture. How they serve coffee, how you have sugar with your coffee, and everything of that sort. And we love just how much time you can spend with people. And so this next year, I'm really looking forward to just building the relationships we have. It's great finding good friendships and finding people that want to be your friends. And so we've definitely found people for us as a couple. And I think there's a couple men as well, young men, that I really just want to be there for. I want to pour my life into, and I just want to be almost like a brother for them. And then be almost like a brother for myself too. It's really cool. And so the language has definitely helped with that. And I think this next year will really be just a time of, now that we've learned and now that we've studied and explored and experienced, really a time of slowing down and just digging in and pouring out a lot of our time just into the relationships that we have within our team and within our Bosnian friends as well. And so we definitely, we know this next year is going to be fast. But we've decided that we really want to stay here for another 2 years on top. And so that's what we really want to emphasize with. It's been a year now. We want everyone to know, our supporters, our friends, our family, our church back home, is that we would really love the opportunity to stay here another 2 years and really dig into our ministry more, because we really realize this 2 years is just not long enough.
Especially for the language too.
Especially for the language, but especially just in relationships too.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think back about, how many friends have I had that were just 2 years, and it doesn't work like that. And we really want to have these good, genuine friendships and have these opportunities with the people here, and really just being there for them too. And so we want everyone to know that this is what we're looking to, this is where we're